Okay. Ready?
Yes, sir.
We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. It's December 14th, 2023, and on my left is Commissioner Aaron Mays, who represents District 3. On my right is Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2. I'm Bill Rippon, and I represent District 1. Madam Clerk, what's first?
First item is consent, item 3, consent agenda.
I would move that we approve the consent agenda. Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning we have vouchers that total $3,403,283.42. Highlights out of that report: our payroll was $1,304,409.14. Health insurance premiums was $177,273.05. Under the detention facility, McElroy's Incorporated for $66,942 was a boiler replacement. This was using ARPA SLFRF funds. Under facility management, we have Cine and Company Incorporated for $711,449.30. This is for courthouse renovation using ARPA SLRF funds, and this is a 56% payment, so that's where we're at. We're over halfway through the project for the courthouse renovation. Under solid waste recycling, TLG operations, that was for $86,777. That is for a roll-off vehicle, and again, solid waste recycling is enterprise fund, not taxpayer funded, but it does go through our voucher reports. I do not have any questions regarding the vouchers and would move for their approval.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I would move that we approve the correction orders.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item A3, consider authorization and execution of contract C403-2023 with Willis of Greater Kansas, Inc. for Shawnee County's 2024 insurance coverage. And Commissioners, we have, again, we have the presentation of the new proposed insurance for all of our property, auto, crime, everything, excess work comp, everything except, health, such like that. So, and with us today is Kent Miller from Willis Towers Watson, and he is available to answer questions or whatever. So, Kent, if you would.
Good morning. I'm Kent Miller with Willis Towers Watson. And I think you guys all have a copy of the proposal that we had sent over a few days earlier. We're looking at another increase with similar terms and conditions of last year, 22.62.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Last year, we had $1 million increase. This year, we're looking at an increase of roughly $460,000. Is that accurate?
Correct.
And so now, we don't anticipate any other increases during 2024, do we?
These are annual forecasted numbers, correct?
Okay. Now, when we're doing our budget in August, we always look at, is this going to be now the trend that we're looking at is every year getting hit with a 22% increase? Because those affect our budgets, those affect our property taxes, and that we all wind up paying. Next year, are we just going to, is this going to be a continuing trend that every year we see a 30% increase?
At this point in time, I can't predict that. I would not anticipate any decreases. I know in the past, over the last several, 15, 20 years, we've seen it up and down in the market. Currently, the way the property is trending right now, and personal auto and auto in general, with inflation and so forth, values trending up. I think it's safe to say that to budget an increase, the value of that, I can't say at this time yet. In August, I think, and throughout the year, we look at this every month, and for sure every quarter, we're sending, the city where we think we're going to anticipate. And we came in right almost at target at what we thought about in August. I think we were just a few points higher on the auto. But other than that, it is trending, and I'll have a better idea for you as the year end, and then as first quarter ends and second quarter ends, we can kind of tighten those up as we get closer. But certainly, I should have a better idea in, middle of the year of next year.
I think it's something that all of our department heads need to kind of have on their radars. They're looking at their insurance, and Stormont-Vale Event Center, as they're looking at their insurance, because it factors into their budgets as well. So
Maybe we could check back in right before we start diving into our budget and maybe have a good idea of what we're in for.
thank you.
Yes.
So we had a very long work session a while back where we talked about the possibility of moving to a captive insurance policy. Do you have any idea how much less this would be if we were in that situation instead? I mean, because we've not had a lot of claims, and so it leads me to believe that these increases are based on other factors besides claims, but in a captive situation, it would really be our claims experience that would control the premiums, right?
Correct. To some extent, there's many different ways to construct a captive. I think we talked about possibly going in with other municipalities who are in your same boat, all the municipalities across, not just Kansas and Missouri and the Midwest, but all the municipalities across coast to coast are experiencing similar increases. So we were in the process of exploring other municipalities within Kansas for you guys to jumping in with. Now, a lot of captives, we don't usually take the whole scope of exposures. We'll usually take and jump it up as you guys grow and get some money saved up. But usually when we first start captives out, we'll take, just take your deductibles up from, like, say, $100,000 to $1 million or something like that. Something that's more meaningful and tangible in your premiums. But should a catastrophic event happen, you'd still be covered with some insurance. So would it help? It certainly can help, for sure. But a captive is there's some operating costs coming through on a captive annually. And we have to take those into consideration. But it's something we can certainly continue to explore.
Yeah, I think I don't see any other options, really, other than that, for at least I look at just our buildings and our auto, if nothing else, it seems like that's probably the way that we need to start pushing.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Kent.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item B, District Attorney number 1, consider approval of request to allocate the end of year balance remaining in the DAO 2023 budget to the District Attorney Office Renovation Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Kage, Shawnee County District Attorney. Thank you for your time. Just simply looking to sweep the balance remaining in our end-of-year budget, which I still project to be between $50,000 and $60,000, into our previously established renovation fund to deal with the ongoing renovation costs within the office.
And I just might point out, these were things that were outside of what we had originally looked at as you were moving some offices around and doing some renovations and improvements to your office space. And this is your contribution to make sure those things happen, right?
In part, yes.
Okay.
Is this that space across the hall then?
Well,
Or everything?
the many twists and turns of office renovations. So previously, and I want to say this was in 2021 maybe, audit finance can correct me if I'm wrong, but we had a surplus at the end of the year, and we knew at some point in time we were getting additional space. So we created a renovation fund, and I think the initial amount was $70,000. That $70,000 is not completely spent, but parts of it have been spent already within the existing framework of the office. For example, we took out an old file room in our felony suite because we don't need that space anymore, and we converted it into 2 different office spaces, and that had cost. So projects like that are ongoing as we try and make our space more efficient, more workable for the personnel we have.
Any other questions?
I would move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next,
Item C, Information Technology, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C404-2023, a renewal of an annual maintenance contract with Imaging Office Systems, Inc. for the application extender document imaging software application suite at a cost of $43,075.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Mark Price, Information Technology. This is just our annual renewal of our imaging system that is used throughout the county by, I think, almost every department. Any questions, I can answer them.
I have none.
then I would move for approval.
Second?
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next,
Item C2, consider authorization and execution of contract C405-2023, renewal of licensing fees with that one, what is it?
Adelassen?
Adelassen, that's what I said too. For several cloud-based software components at a cost of $9,787.50 with funding from the 2023 department budget.
Mark Price, Information Technology again. This is just our annual renewal of our Adelassen software. It's used by everyone in the IT department, our developers to our technicians, to manage tickets going throughout the county, and then also some other projects of how they do their development.
okay. Questions?
None.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item C3, consider authorization and execution of contract C406-2023, the purchase and installation of an Abbott Jillian security camera at the North Annex at a cost of $36,757.
Mark Price with my final item, I believe. This is for additional Visualon cameras at the North Annex. Currently at the North Annex, there is a older standalone camera system. This would bring it into the same system we have at the courthouse and also add additional views throughout the building. This is consistent with, we've had emergency management do a security assessment. It fits into what they're wanting to see out there and will help secure our planning, appraiser, public works, and solid waste departments.
I'll move for approval.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Next item.
Item D, Court Administration, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C407-2023 for the purchase of a 1-year subscription to CrowdStrike Endpoint Protection Enterprise Systems through CDWG. CrowdStrike will provide upgraded protection from cyber threats to all users on Shawnee County District Court computer servers at a cost of $30,650 with funding through the 2023 Court Administration budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lee Welch, Court Administrator, Shawnee County District Court. As Cindy indicated, this is simply a purchase of an endpoint protection system for all of our users. This is a system similar to what the county uses currently and will replace either 2 or 3 individual systems we use presently.
Apparently, the state doesn't use this.
They do now.
All right.
It's too easy.
All the
It's too
lawyers
easy.
laughed really hard at that.
All right. Any questions?
No.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item D2, consider request to transfer balance of the 2023 court administration budget to a pre-existing special project fund for costs associated with courthouse renovation projects for the court, but not included in the overall project budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lee Welch, Court Administrator, 3rd Judicial District. This is simply a request to take whatever funds are remaining in our budget at the end of the calendar year, the end of the fiscal year, and put those aside into a special project fund that's previously been established for courthouse renovations.
Questions?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ledon. Next item.
Item E, Planning Department number 1, consider approval of request to transfer the remaining of the unencumbered 2023 Planning Department budget to a special project fund for planning and zoning regulation updates.
Good morning, Commissioners. Joni Thadani, Director of the Planning Department. I would like to go ahead and transfer as well all of my remaining unencumbered 2023 funds to the project fund that was created last year. If you recall, last year I went ahead and created a special project fund for planning and zoning regulation updates. I'm hopeful that this fund can help us as we move forward with potential regulations on not only wind and solar, but also we need to do an amendment to our zoning regulations, our platting and subdivision regulations, and then probably our comprehensive plan as well.
Any questions?
Yeah, I'll move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next.
Item F, Health Department number 1, approval for Shawnee County Health Department to accept the Workforce Development Grant through Kansas Department of Health and Environment for years 2023 to 2027 in the total amount of $276,470.48.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher, Director of the Health Department. I came before you in August to ask for permission to apply for this grant through the state. This was a non-competitive grant. This was based on 3 different factors. There was a base amount, it was based on our population, and also a social vulnerability index were the allocations. And so this is the amount that was awarded to our county for 4 years. My team and I are not really committed yet to what we want to spend this money on. So there is a statewide meeting in which different leaders will be coming together to discuss opportunities. Some things we're considering are some regionalization projects, looking at other smaller communities around us that might not have some of the projects and programs that we do. Definitely staff training as some opportunities that we wouldn't normally have, even exploring some behavioral health opportunities for our staff. So again, this is over the next 4 years. There's no match requirement for this grant. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
It's my favorite kind of grant, so
Yeah, me
I'll
too.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
I will second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
F2, consider authorization and execution of contract C408-2023 between Shawnee County and Aaron Locke, MD, MPH, to continue serving in the capacity of the health officer and medical director for the family planning program. The contract period is for January 1, 2024 to December 31, 2024.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher, Director of the Health Department. This is our annual contract. We would like to renew Dr. Locke's contract to serve as both our health officer for the county and also in the role of medical director for family planning. This is included in our budget for next year. Dr. Locke's been on staff for, it'll be coming up 2 years. She has been instrumental in helping do some program improvement and just the various public health challenges that have come about in the last 2 years. I know myself and the staff enjoy working with her, and we look forward to continuing that next year. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? I will move for approval then.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Next item.
Item G, Register of Deeds number 1, consider approval of a request to transfer the remaining of the unencumbered 2023 Register of Deeds budget to a special project fund for renovations and furniture.
Good morning, Commissioners. Becky Neosi, Register of Deeds. While we're in the middle of construction adjustments, we'll call them, I would like to expand my 9x10 office to make it a little bit more usable for meetings and closed-door meetings. We are an open to the public office, and so this would be beneficial. The plan was to do it this year, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen, so I'd like to move it to a special project fund if I could.
I'll move for approval.
Second. Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Becky. Next item.
Item H, Parks and Recreation, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C 409-2023 with Rise Drone Services as the sole source provider of drone application for
Procelicor.
that's what it was, herbicide for the treatment of milfoil at Lake Shawnee.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Bell, Parks and Recreation. We are seeking approval for the attached contract for sole source using Rise Drone Services to treat Lake Shawnee for Eurasian milfoil. We treated Lake Shawnee in 2023 using Rise, and we had really good success. And we would like to continue working with them to be proactive with treating Lake Shawnee. The South Cove this year, it was pretty much covered in milfoil, and it was fishing, and it was really difficult. So we're wanting to be ahead of the curve with the lake water quality at Lake Shawnee. And I might mention too, we worked really closely with John Landon from the Weed Department on this. He helped connect the dots to get this in place. And in addition to, I know one of the questions will be, I know they just purchased a drone, and I know there's a learning curve on using the drone, and then the size to this drone that the Rise uses, I think, is a little bit larger than the one that John has purchased. And I think long-term, the hope is we will be able to use the Weed Department's drone when treating Lake Shawnee. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
You answered my question. So,
And I might clarify too, on the memo, it does say operational funds will be used. We are going to be using 3R funding for the funding for that, so.
okay.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, John. Next item.
Item H2, the Commissioner's acceptance is requested on the attached schedule of fees for the use of Shawnee County Park and Recreation facilities and participation in the department-sponsored activities. This document establishes the fees for the participation in Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department activities as set forth in the Shawnee County Resolution 2011-170.
Good morning, Commissioners. Josh Mikey, Parks and Recreation. Before you is the schedule of fees, our annual schedule of fees. We're seeking approval for these proposed rates. Just to highlight some of these changes or differences from last year, a lot of them are tied to improvements for facilities as well as cost of stuff going up. Golf, we're looking at dollar rates, dollar raise in daily rates. Shelters, there's a wide variety. And then pools, we're looking at community pools entrance, daily entrance going up $1. So be happy to answer any other questions. Do want to keep in mind that this is just fees for rentals and stuff like that, not program fees and concessions. Those are not included on here. So be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions regarding the fees?
I do not.
All right, I will move for approval.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Josh. Next item.
Item I, Noxious Weed Department, number 1, request approval and signatures for Hilo Inc., summary of purchase agreement for an unmanned aircraft system.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Landon, Director of the Weed Department. This item before you this morning is just some paperwork for Helio to get started on their process. This is just a summary of what we purchased and the terms and conditions of the product. So that I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I'll move for approval.
I will second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Okay, next item.
Item I2, request approval and signatures for Hilo Inc. to proceed with licensing certifications, permits, waivers, and other authorizations pertaining to the operation of UAS within the USA.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Landon, Director of the Weed Department again. The second part of this is for Helio to get started on the FAA paperwork. This was actually part of the purchase of the drone, and so Helio then files all the paperwork, certificates, the whole 9 yards with the FAA to register just the drone itself. And then our licenses are through the FAA for the pilot. So this is separate from that. I just wanted to be sure that everybody understood this was just for the drone to register it with the FAA. So.
Okay,
I'll move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item I3, request approval to create and advertise for a full-time pesticide applicator.
John Landon, Director of the Weed Department. The item before you this morning is back during budget time, the commission approved funding for a new position at the Weed Department for a pesticide applicator. The request I have before you this morning is just requesting to create that position and then advertise it to hire. So happy to answer any questions you might have.
Would this person be your drone pilot?
Well, it's Commissioners, honestly, I'd like to see all my applicators be pilots. It just gives us the flexibilities. The same as I like to see all my applicators have all their licensings from 6 to 9 to 5 to everything. It just gives me the flexibility to be able to send whoever. So it is possible, but I think right now we have a young gentleman there who's been with me for 3 years. He's intermittent help, very sharp kid, and I think he's primarily going to be. He's going with me in January to be the first initial 2 pilots. So.
What kind of process is that? Is that a week-long thing?
It's a week-long thing in Salina, K-State USAS class, and so it's 4 days of class work. Then you take the FAA test there, and then the 5th day is all your drone certifications on the flying part of it. So it's done by K-State, and I think it's going to be a pretty good little program.
Okay.
So.
Well, if there are no more questions, I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item I4, request approval to restructure the pesticide staff.
John Landon, Director of the Weed Department. Commissioners, the item I have before you is trying to create a reorganization or a structure plan for the pesticide applicators. Currently, our staff consists of myself as the director. I have an office clerk too, and then with what you just approved this morning, I'd have 3 applicators. They're all equal on the same level. And so what this does is create a pathway for our applicators to have success throughout their licensing program. We would start as a pesticide applicator 1, which would be somebody that we could hire off the streets with no experience, take the time to train them and get them their licensing they need. Pesticide 2 would be somebody that could apply that already had some experience roadside spraying, and so that would give them a little bit of a pay level and separate the difference between somebody that just started. And then the third one being a lead applicator position. And the whole point behind that lead applicator's position is in the event that I'm gone, we really have no one that can run the department or step up to be sure that we meet all of our obligations. If somebody's injured or hurt in an accident, I need somebody to kind of step in and take that role. It would be, I guess, for this purposes, it would be like having a deputy director that other departments do. And so that's what this reorganization would do. It would create a stair-step program for those applicators to have a succession to actually move up. In the end of this, though, I would say that out of the 3, I would anticipate our department would end up with like a lead applicator and then 2 applicator 2 positions. So you would never have more than that. It's staggered to where that's where you'd stop at. So, at the beginning, you would probably have maybe a a lead applicator, or an applicator 2, and then an applicator 1, but in time, when he got his license, then he would move up to a 2. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
You've worked with our HR department.
I did work with the HR department, and actually, Mr. Augustine helped me write all the PDs for this, and so.
Okay. All right. No more questions. I would move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item I-5, consider authorization and execution of contract C410-2023 with Enterprise Fleet Management for the lease of 2 2024 Ford F-350 pickups, trucks, and approve to return 2 2020 Ford F-350 trucks, and apply the capital gains from the sale to the new leases.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Landon, Director of the Weed Department. This request is just to renew the leases with Enterprise Leasing. Back in 2020, we leased 2 F-350 pickups out of the gate. Last year, our intentions were to cause a little separation between those 2 trucks, so we weren't sending 2 down every year. Unfortunately, we couldn't get a build date from Enterprise, and so this year we're going to have to roll with both of them again. My hopes was, again, to create a separation so I wasn't down 2 trucks while the sprayers are being transferred. But with our lease ending in 25, then by the time these trucks get delivered at the end of 24, get sent to have all the spray equipment transferred, it would be 25. And then we would trade those trucks back into Enterprise, and the sale of the gains would go toward the new leases. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions? I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
John. Next.
Item J, Audit Finance, number 1, request approval of 2024 small item capital outlay of requests totaling $91,500, utilizing previously approved $100,000 CIP Project 134.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jennifer Sauer, Financial Administrator. I'm bringing you this morning a list of the requests that were made from our departments for their small item CIPs, which is defined as any project that's under $50,000 total. Each year, as we do our main CIP request, we request, and so far you have approved, a small item CIP in the amount of $100,000 for us to be able to purchase these smaller projects. This year's totaled $91,500, which is within the amount originally passed on September 7th for the group of projects. And I think there's people from each department here if you have questions regarding each of those projects.
I think they're all pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, we've got
Commissioner Mays that might have a question, I think, or a comment?
It's not about everything that's on here, but maybe something that's not on here. The HR vestibule, Angela, did you still need extra funding to get that done? With $8,500 left in this budget, it seems like maybe that might be enough to get it over the finish line.
That would get it over the finish line. We had asked that all the remaining money in our budget this year go to that project. Not sure exactly how much that'll end up being right now, but if there was any that could be allocated to that, we would appreciate it.
Would you guys object to adding that $8,500
No.
to that?
That'd be
fund?
fine.
Okay, then
I can make that amendment and send it.
I'd make a motion that we approve this with an amendment to add the remaining $8,500 to the Human Resources vestibule.
I'd second that.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. There you go.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item J2, consider approval of resolution number 2023-88 allocating 2024 social service funds as appropriated by the 2024 operating budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. This also goes along with number 3. I don't know if you want to take it separately or together.
If we could take it as one item, I think it makes sense. Madam Clerk, do you?
It would, yes.
that be
You
okay
want
with?
to put them together?
Could we,
Oh,
can I
okay.
just,
I thought you were gonna-
You want to consolidate some more?
could we waive the reading of all of the individual contracts and just the title of these
I would be in favor of that. Just
well,
on both
that's-
items 3 and 5? I don't
So-
know. I mean, however you guys want to do it, but
I'll just do whatever.
I'm,
I'll do whatever you want me to do.
I'm sure you're capable of reading all this, but I don't think you need to prove it.
But I would ask that, I know that Mary Thomas is here with Community Resource Council, and just to kind of talk about the process, the hard work that they're, because this is granting out $250,000 to social service agencies, and then an amount for the elderly services, but just the work that they put in and how they go through it, and so, if it's okay. But once it's read, once the clerk's introduced the item.
So you'd like
Okay.
me to read number 3? Also, J3, consider
So you're
authorization.
putting 2 and 3 together.
Okay. Consider authorization and execution of contracts for 2024 Social Service Fund allocations as previously approved by Resolution 2023-88.
Okay, so we are here to request that this resolution be approved. This was a discussion that was made previously at the September 7th, well, culminating at the December 7th BCC meeting with the passing of the budget. We have Mary Thomas from CRC, and this first group is for our social services funds, which total $232,000.
Mary Thomas with Community Resources Council. Good morning, Commissioners, Counselor, Clerk. Good to see you all. How can I help you today, other than thank you for letting me tell you how hard CRC works to do this?
And you're working with each of these agencies to make sure that they follow through on what they had asked for and the projects that they have requested?
Yes, the voting members of the Advocacy Council of Aging that have certain requirements, specifically, they are not part of any of the agencies that receive grant funding from the county, either on social programming or specific social service programming, non-senior programming. They're not on their board. They don't have family that's employed in any shape, no volunteers, nothing like that. So those voting members are the ones, along with members of the community, we pull together for the committee work to be done to review the grants. The voting members themselves do a site visit with each one of the agencies every year, kind of review how the funding is going, how it's being used on site to actually see the programming in process, be available to talk to clients that take advantage of what's happening there to make sure it's all working the way it's supposed to. And I really see those people every month because we meet every first Wednesday, at least 10 times a year, which is part of the requirement to actually put in for funding. So we talk, we network, we have a pretty good idea of what's happening in each one of these locations and how the programming is working and how the money's being spent.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
I would move for approval of J2 and J3.
Okay, I will second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Okay.
Next item.
Item J4, consider approval of resolution number 2023-89, allocating the 2024 service programs for the elderly funds as appropriated by the 2024 operating budget.
Okay,
Good morning. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, do we want to combine these
Yep,
two?
have J5, so we do it again.
Okay.
J5, consider authorization and execution of contracts for 2024 service programs for the elderly allocations as previously approved by Resolution 2023-89.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jennifer Sauer, Financial Administrator. Like with the last one, this is the programs for the elderly portion of our allocations. These total $744,500 for 2024, and Mary, I'm sure, can give you more information about that.
Of the two budget lines, this is the lion's share of the money, as you can see from the spreadsheets that I present you every year of how the committee recommends. I always show you what has been requested by each agency. We follow the guideline of every other county department that Audit and Finance puts out. when we're putting budgeting together. So we let the agencies know if it's a flat budget, deficit budget, the sky is not the limit here. And then the committees go to work, reviewing budgets, reviewing programming, reviewing what has gone on in the past year. They have an opportunity to kind of let their program shine, to give us a kind of a face or a story behind a lot of what they do. And then they do the hard work of figuring out who gets a haircut and try to bring this back into reality to make sure that we're in budget line with every other department of the county. And then ultimately it's submitted to you for your approval. On behalf of those volunteers that do that committee work every year, thank you for appreciating what they do and not really applying any additional cuts to what they had already done and suggested to you in the way of final budget.
Appreciate all the work that the advocacy group and committee does. There's a lot of hard work in reviewing all the applications and determining where the money should be allocated and where they go in our community. So I just want to thank all the volunteers. Again, this is a volunteer position and the work of CRC too. So thank you, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Commissioner. They work hard. They have a notebook to go through. We're kind of old school. We do take the trees down, but they want to take the book home. They want to pour through those budgets. And all I can do is feed them, but I feed them well.
Appreciate it. I'll move for approval again of J4 and J5.
Okay, I will second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Next item.
Commissioners, thank you on behalf of the agencies and the customers they serve.
Thank you. Next item.
Item J6, consider authorization and execution of contract C435-2023 with TARC Inc., allocating $1,029,104 for the provision of certain specified social services to the residents of Shawnee County in 2024.
Gonna get sick of seeing me. Jennifer Sauer, Financial Administrator. This is requesting approval for the contract with TARC for the social services that they provide in 2024.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item J7, consider authorization and execution of contract C436-2023 with the Community Resources Council Administration, allocating $40,000 to provide certain specified social services to the residents of Shawnee County in 2024.
Good morning, Jennifer Sauer, Financial Administrator. This agreement is separate from the previous two resolutions in that this is our contract with Community Resource Council for the administration that they do of these programs. So this is 2024's approval in the amount of $40,000.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner May, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item J8, consider authorization and execution of contract C437-2023 with Shawnee County Fair Association, allocating $95,000 to be used to be paid for the costs of conducting the county fair in 2024.
Jennifer Sauer, Financial Administrator. So last but not least is the allocation to the Shawnee County Fair Association for 2024.
Any questions? I would move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you very much.
Next item.
Item J9, November 2023 financial report.
Good morning, Betty Greiner, Director of Administrative Services. Jennifer has asked me to present this one last monthly financial report. It's not my last commission meeting, but it'll be my last financial report. So we'll get started with that. This is as of November 30th, and we'll start on revenues. Through November 30th, we had received revenues of $128,513,268. That is $4,449,000 over what we had budgeted and expected. And this chart just kind of shows the breakdown of the different categories that make up that amount, and we will look at each category individually. I will say that $4,449,000 is about 3.5%. That is the positive variance comparing the actual and the budget. Our first category is property tax. We received $98,360,902. That is the same as last month because we did not have a tax distribution during the month of November. And that is $1,022,000 under budget. As we have talked all year, those taxes were coming in a little under what we expected. The other is other tax revenue. $14,630,228. That is $785,000 under budget, and that we made a little headway during the month of November, but only about $1,000. The next category, charges for services. We received $5,581,702. That is $562,000 under what was budgeted. And that actually went down a little bit more in the month of December. And our last category is other revenue, $9,940,436. That is $6,820,000 over what we had budgeted. And as we've talked all year, that is mostly from investment income. We have to estimate what we expect the 2023 budget. We had to estimate that back in April, May of '22. And so at that point in time, we had to look at what the interest rates were at that point in time. So this is what has really helped give us that positive variance. This positive variance of the $4,004,000 should remain throughout the rest of the year. Now, we will not see that on the side with expenditures, but we have received the majority of our revenue. We will receive some revenue in December, but we have received the majority of it, so we should retain that positive variance for the end of the year. And this is our pie chart that shows us 77% of our revenue is from property taxes, other taxes 11%, charges for services 4%, and other revenue is 8%. Now we'll look at the expenditure side. Through the end of November, we had either paid or encumbered $115,303,506. That is $1,358,000 under what was budgeted. And there again, this chart is the same thing. It just shows the different categories and what makes up that total. We'll look at each category. That $1,300,000 positive variance, because it's under budget, so it's a positive variance for us. That's about 1%. Okay, our first category is law enforcement expenses. $56,888,829. That is $719,000 under budget, and that is spread among several of the departments. The next category is recreation, $17,675,220. That is $83,000 over budget, and we are working with them to resolve that so it will not be over budget at the end of the year. Public Works, and this is just the general fund portion of Public Works, $10,590,022. That is $69,000 under budget, so right on budget there. Next, Public Health at $7,652,3 $3. Again, this is just for the general fund portion of public health, and that is 137,000 under budget. And again, as we've talked all year, that is because the health department has been able to use some grant funds for their operating costs this year. Administrative services, $13,495,585. That is $522,000 under budget. The biggest portion of that is our contingency funds that we've not had to use, even though there was times through the year that we thought we would use it all. We have some of that left, and then the rest of it is just spread among many departments. And then the last is debt service, $9,001,847. That has not changed from the prior month. And the difference there is $6,000, and as I've said before, that was based on estimating some debt we were going to issue, and it came in at $6,000 difference. So if we look at, this is a chart that shows each of the different categories. I think this one really shows you how much is used by each category. The blue is, of course, the year-to-date, the red is the budget, and the green is the prior year. Then our pie chart shows that 49% of our expenses went for law enforcement, recreation was 15%, public works 9%, public health 7%, admin services of 12%, and debt service of 8%. Let me just say that for the public, if they're listening, they would hear that we have had revenue of $128 million, expenditures of $115 million. So they'd say, well, you have $13 million. But as you all three know, the timing for our revenue and our expenditures are not the same. That's why we don't really look at a net difference between the two of them. We look at the variance on each side, because that is our best indicator of where we are. The revenue comes in earlier. You know, we have most of our revenue for the year, but we still have a whole another month of expenditures and expenses. And as you have seen today, there are departments, December is generally a high month for expenditures, and there's departments that are, you know, whether it's expenditures or transfers, those will use a lot of this positive variance on the expenditure side. So that $1.3 million that I said is the positive variance will decrease before the end of the year. That is all in my report. I will say that next year, hopefully, you will have a new reporting system with our Questica budgeting software that they are implementing. There should be some great reporting that they can do through that system. So I think this will look very different next year. That's exciting, and it'll be, I may have to, you know, listen in to see what it looks like. So I think that will be an exciting change. So do you have any questions for me?
Questions?
Thank you, Betty.
Yeah, thank you very much. Only an accountant could get excited about it.
That's right. Oh, wow.
Before Betty steps away, though, this was a process that did not exist before Betty was here. This monthly review was something that Betty brought as a audit finance director to the county. And again, we were coming out of the recession and really looking at where our finances were, so that if we knew we needed to make adjustments monthly, we knew exactly kind of where we were at and how we were doing. And so I want to appreciate that over the last 11 years, this is a process that Betty has refined. And her office, usually, we see the state get wildly out of whack, but usually Betty's office has it within a 0.5% and just a really on-target number. So I just want to thank you and your staff for all that they do in preparing these reports.
Yes, I have a great team that it isn't me, it's the whole team. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm always amazed by the accuracy. So. Thank you. All right. Madam Clerk, what's next?
Item K, Commission Number 1, acknowledge a letter of resignation from Stephen B. Hennessy, Tecumseh Township Trustee, effective December 31, 2023.
Yes, I received a letter. It said, "Dear Commissioners, it's with regret I tender my resignation from the Tecumseh Township Board of Trustees effective December 31st, 2023. I have enjoyed my time serving our community and working with you. I, along with other members, would like to nominate, and they have Mr. Roy Mallory, finish my term." We appreciate his service and his time they put into the township. We will be taking applications for this position until January 2nd, and then we will appoint someone new. Do we have to vote on this person?
We would vote to accept the resignation.
Correct. Okay. Well, that's your motion?
Yes, my motion is to acknowledge the letter of resignation from Stephen Hennessy.
Okay, I will second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. So, if you're, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'll just say, if you're interested in the position, like I said, we'll be taking applications till January 2nd. So, all right.
And just to clarify, by acknowledging the letter of resignation, we are not appointing the person that he
No, we're not.
suggested.
I was just part of their letter, and I read it. So that's just to finish the term.
Yeah, we have to go through the process.
Yes. But do we have to vote on the guy that's finishing the term?
When the time comes, yeah.
Well, it's just for the list.
But he wouldn't finish it until
No.
you appointed him. And
Right.
the board can't do it, you have to do it. So he's, even though they think they can, they can't.
All right, okay,
So,
I think they can exist without this position until
Trustee.
January 2nd.
okay.
so Dr. Mallory, please get your letter into us as soon as
If
possible.
you want it.
All right. Next item.
Item K2, consider approval of resolution number 2023-87, appointing Angela J. K. Lewis as the Director of Administrative Services at a rate of $5,159.66 per pay period.
Betty Greider, Director of Administrative Services, for just a little bit longer. The next step in my retirement is for the commission to appoint a Director of Administrative Services. I believe the decision, I think you have decided to appoint Angela Lewis in that position. So I am just presenting it to you.
We will decide right now. So, any comments? I'll make a motion if, that we approve.
I'll second and welcome Angela to that role. I mean, she's done an excellent job as our HR director, and look forward to her stepping into this greater role with Shawnee County.
Okay.
We still got to vote. We have to vote. We have to vote, yeah.
You know, I think the others have had to come up and speak, so I think Angela should too.
Speech.
Did we have a second? Or-
I second.
Hey, second,
Okay.
maybe we should vote.
We should probably vote first.
Get it in order there. Motion's been made by Commissioner May, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. I look forward to working with you even further and appreciate the opportunity.
Next item.
Item 5, public comment.
I don't have anyone signed up, but is there anyone here who would like to speak in the public? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item.
Item 6, administrative communications.
All right.
Good morning, Commissioners. Larry Moss, Shawnee County Treasurer. I have a couple of announcements today. First, after over a decade, the state of Kansas has decided it's time to change the license plate design. And by popular demand, if you've been reading the newspaper following that, they've decided to allow the citizens to vote on the design. You can vote right now. You have until 5 o'clock tomorrow to register your vote, and as I read that, you can vote as many times as you want for your favorite. So if you want to load the box up, that's permissible. You go to the website ksplates.kansas.gov, and if you can't remember that, just go out and Google it. Almost all of the media outlets have stories on that, and they generally have a link. So this is your chance to decide what the new tags will look like probably for the next decade. And then to normal business, just a reminder, deadline for taxes is December the 20th, which happens to be the next Wednesday before we meet again. You can pay in person, online, by mail, or you can drop it off. We have a drop box at the end of the courthouse parking lot. You can also drop it at the motor vehicle annex, but again, as I say every year, we don't process those payments at that location. We'll bring them downtown. So if you want a receipt, you'll just have to give us a note, and we'll send you the receipt in the mail. We do accept cash, check, and a credit card. And I might note that our online vendor, Payit, will be sending out an electronic reminder in the next few days. And there's always a bit of confusion when we do that because they use a database which consists of anyone who's ever paid their taxes online, plus if you've ever renewed your motor vehicle registration online, they use that database. So it is possible that you may get a reminder even though you don't own real estate or personal property. Don't panic. We don't expect you to pay something you don't owe. Or you may get a reminder even if you've paid, because they don't link that to our current database. So it's just an overall global reminder. Don't panic if you've already paid. Don't panic if you really don't have real estate. Be glad to answer any questions you have.
Questions?
With that, Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Thank you, Larry. Anyone else? Commissioner Mays, do you have anything to add?
No, I can't think of anything.
Are you doing story time this weekend, or?
You know, I didn't get signed up. I probably need to go back and do that. So, thanks for the reminder.
All right, Commissioner.
I don't have anything to report.
All right. The only thing I have to report is we will have a work session next Monday. We're going to have a report from Solid Waste Department and the election office, so tune in for that. Next item.
Item 7, executive session.
We do have a need for executive session. I move that we recess into executive session for a period not to exceed 20 minutes for consultation with an attorney for the public body or agency which would be deemed privileged in a client or attorney-client relationship, specifically for the primary discussion of personnel matters of non-elected personnel. Why don't we start that at about 10, let's say 10:15, that'll give us time to.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Ready?
Yes, sir.
We are back in session. No actions taken at this time, so we're adjourned.